How do? I'm trying, I'm recording at a different time of the day to what I normally do. I normally leave it till like sort of the little late afternoon when my wife's finished work and stuff. But I tried that last week. I tried to do a video that wasn't pickups, believe it or not. I had a go at the tag video that Retrohead Steve put up. Top 10 gaming franchises or something like that. 4 times I tried to record this video. There were just all kinds of interruptions. The cat going mental. There were people outside shouting at the kids and all kinds of things like that. I ended up giving up as a bad job. So basically, I don't like recording earlier because my wife works in her office, which is right directly below this, and I get very self-conscious about doing this kind of thing if I think anyone can hear me. But I'm giving it a go. So I'm recording a bit earlier than normal. So I'm either going to be more or less tired than I normally am, but I can't sort of gauge that at the minute. It's pickups again. We've had a couple of gaming markets. A couple of first-timer gaming markets, actually, I think. The first one was the Sheffield gaming market, which was 2.5 weeks ago now. Has it been that long since I've recorded? Must be. And then the week after, I went to the Barnsley gaming market with Sean, Retro Games Revived, and got a couple of bits from those, a couple of other pickups and stuff as well. So I'll just talk you through what I've got. There's some gaming and some Lego again. I'm starting to fall into that Lego hole that I didn't want to fall into. So we'll start with the Lego, shall we? Get that out of the way. There's no Evercade this time, shock horror. No Switch either, bloody hell. It's all blue and green and Lego. So yeah, we'll start with the Lego. I got another one of these mechs that I'm after, and I'm surprised I've never picked this one up sooner actually. I think it's just because I've never seen it in person. I got this one from Amazon. Seems like a no-brainer. I got Batman in his mech suit. He's the sort of Tim Burton Batman and Batman Returns style Batman. He's got his black suit with the yellow logo, which is cool because as far as live action goes, that's my favourite Batman. And it's a cool suit. He's got these like wings that kind of fold out because he's got a jetpack thing on the back, which is pretty cool. They also like fold down and act sort of like a cape that kind of wrap around him. Another one I was firing gun hands. I'm not gonna fire off. But yeah, now I'm starting to find that I think there's only one more of these that's in current rotation that's not been retired, and that's War Machine from the Marvel sets. The rest have all been retired now, so they are creeping up in cost. And at first I thought maybe that would be the collection coming to an end, but I've decided to have a look on Vinted. I've only just recently started using Vinted. It's been good to me. It's more on it later, but I kind of assumed it was just there for manic pixie dream girls to buy hippie clothes from people who haven't washed them, and no, it turns out it's basically like a sort of old school eBay where you can just buy people's stuff that they don't want anymore, which is before companies got hold of eBay and started just turning it into a big old faceless Chinese knockoff shop. I've been having a look on Vinted and people are selling the old pre-loved sets for quite cheap. There's a Thor one which was so far retired that it's not even appearing on Amazon at all, and that was on there for like a £5 the other day. So I think I'm going to lay off collecting these for a while until I've got somewhere to display them. I might pick up that War Machine one because I know I can get it from Argos, and there's an Argos in Sainsbury's, and Sainsbury's is where we go to drink Starbucks, so we tend to go there once a week. So I probably will pick up the War Machine one at some point from there, but I'm not going to start getting the older ones until I've got somewhere to display them, because at the minute they're just piled up on my desk. And this room is just a fucking shambles at the minute, and it is getting me down a little bit. I can't wait until I can get it sorted when we finally get rid of that bed city. Anyway, waffling. Oh no. So yeah, I got the Batman mech. I'll try and put him with the rest of them without knocking them all off. What next? Lego, I don't know if this is a new thing or not, but James, Retro Import Gamer, I need to keep tabs on who I'm mentioning here, because I think there's going to be quite a few mentions this time. Yeah, he's been posting this arcade machine that he got, and I saw that and fell in love with it, and just happened to casually mention it to my wife, and she just bought it for me because that's what she's doing at the minute. She just seems to be buying me things all the time, and I very much appreciate it, but it makes me feel very sort of like I'm taking it for granted sort of thing, which I'm really not. But yeah, so she ended up buying it for me, and I need to be careful with this because the Lego box is open from the bottom for some reason. But yeah, this is the box for it, which is cool. And the whole thing unfolds to like a little man cave scene on the inside. I could not put this together straight away, so on Saturday, I think I had my day off work, I just sat down and spent an hour or two just putting this together. So there's the finished deal. It's the first set I've ever had to apply stickers, which I'm not very good at, but very noticeable here on these grating things I gone completely skew with. But yeah, that's the inside. I'm half tempted to get myself a custom figure made of me just to sit in there and get rid of this Jack Black lookalike wannabe. But it's just a cool little man cave thing. Nice little throwbacks to like he's got the sigh there from the Raphael Turtles figure. It's just a fun little man cave set. Really enjoyed it. I like this as well because it's like pretty much the exact scale of the mini arcade machines that I have, which at one point I was collecting, but then I realised I didn't have anywhere for them, so I stopped collecting them. Yeah, I love that set. I loved building it, and it was nice to get to grips with some chunky bricks because those mechs are decent, but they don't have like proper chunky Lego bricks, and this one did, and it was just nice to get just back to my childhood with like the big old chunky Lego bricks. And to go with that as well, I'd seen these in Morrison's and Sainsbury's, like knockoff Legos. What are they called? Zuru Max Premium Bricks. And when I used to collect toys, I used to collect Batman figures, but I liked the knockoff figures almost as much, if not more, than the actual official ones because, you know, the big, stupid, crazy stuff. So I've got a real affinity for knockoff stuff. And this Zuru range, they did these kind of almost like big Gashapon capsules. It's knockoff Lego, but it's like the same scale and stuff. It's fully compatible. But they did this retro range, and one of the things in this retro range was another little arcade machine. Obviously, this is still sealed. I've not actually built this one yet, but I thought to go with that one. I don't think it's going to be as big, but to go with that, it'd be cool to have this one as well. It appears to have disappeared from actual shops now, but on Amazon you could get it. It was £8, and that was like the price that they were selling it for in the supermarkets as well. The rest of the range, cause as well as the arcade machine, there's also like a retro TV, Apple Mac, Polaroid camera, boombox, and a sort of bat phone, old style telephone. I'm not fussed about those, and they all seem to be a bit cheaper than this as well, but this was the most expensive one in the range, but it was still only like recommended retail price. So yeah, I picked up this arcade machine. I've not built it yet. I always think I should film myself building these things, but to be honest, I usually just can't wait to get them out of the box and build them. Part of me kind of wants the TV and the Apple Mac as well, because my dad was a teacher, so quite often in the summer holidays for 6 weeks we'd have an Apple Macintosh set up in the house, and I used to sit there and play on Kid Pics, which was not what it sounds like these days. Don't Google Kid Pics. It was just like a child-centric paint program. I don't know, it was weird. It was basically like an S Paint, but like all the clip art made noises when you put it down, and there was like animated clip art and stuff like that. It was so much fun to just sit and mess around with. And I remember once as well, my friend had, I think he had Lion King on the PC, and we found out it was Macintosh compatible. So I brought it home from his house and secretly installed it to my dad's school Apple Mac, and he was not happy. But yeah, so I'm thinking about picking up the Mac and the retro TV just out of kind of nostalgia, I guess. I've been thinking a lot about nostalgia lately, because a lot of people collect games and stuff out of nostalgia, and nostalgia doesn't really have a huge impact on what I want. I don't collect things because of nostalgia. I collect things because I like good things, not old things. But I don't know. it's just something that's been in my mind a bit. I'm going to just stop going down rabbit holes of waffle because it seems like that's how it's going to be, doesn't it? I've been going 12 minutes now and I haven't even started on the games yet. So yeah, video games. This one actually was supposed to be my last video, but I forgot about it. I don't know why. I finished filming. I had these on a pile on the floor next to me, and I finished filming, sat back, looked down, and this one was still there where the pile was, and I completely forgot about mentioning it. And that's RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business on the PS5. It's a standalone expansion, I believe the phrase is, to RoboCop Rogue City, which essentially is, kind of like Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Spider-Man Miles Morales, that kind of thing. It's essentially a full-length game, but uses the assets from the previous game instead of coming up with a new engine and stuff like that. So it's kind of like RoboCop 1.5. I really enjoyed this. Whereas like the first Rogue City was kind of like a sort of mini Fallout, and it was quite open. We had like open world hubs and stuff. This is just a self-contained mission, and I think it probably works to its advantage. It just makes it feel tighter. There's less sort of downtime where you're trying to find things to do or just wander around collecting things and stuff like that, which makes for a tighter experience. And I think I probably like this one more than the original. But saying that, it's been like nearly 2 years since I played the original, so I don't know. But yeah, it's still well worth getting, especially as it's quite a cheap price. Really enjoyed it. Looks like they polished up the graphics a little bit, but still not too much. It still feels quite low budget. But it's still held a lot of fun. Still got that kind of... what was the game now? The old game on the Xbox and PC. The FPS that was stupidly violent. I don't remember, but it's that kind of thing, like you shoot somebody in the head and the head will pop, or you can blow their arms and legs off and stuff. If you shoot someone in the nuts, then they'll double over and react to being shot in the nuts. What was that game now on the Xbox?
A few moments later.
Soldier of Fortune. That's where we're at. Yeah, it reminds me, it always, like, both of them remind me of Soldier of Fortune a lot, so yeah. I wasn't going to spoil it, but it's literally on the back of the box. There is a section where you play as ED-209, or Ed-209, whatever, the big walker thing. That's a standout moment in the game. Really good. Yeah, so that should have been mentioned last time, but I forgot. This was completely unplanned, but it came up, I think it was a decent price on Amazon. It's still in the cellophane, so it's going to get a bit of glare, but last week I mentioned I got The Last of Us Part 1 on the PS5. Didn't really have the scope to pick this up at all because I wasn't that interested, because to be honest the second one never really struck me as being like a great game to the level of the first one. But when I saw the covers I kind of wanted them side by side, so when this came up cheap, I think it was like £21, I picked up The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered on the PS5. I'm really tempted to play through the what they call the chronological mode on this now, because part of what I didn't like about The Last of Us Part 2 was the fact that you played through most of the game like start to finish as Ellie, then it got to a certain point and then all of a sudden, I guess this might be spoilers, but it kind of goes back to the start of the game and you play as a different character throughout the whole story, whereas this one will sort of chop and change between the two characters to keep it going in a chronological way. It's probably best if you play it how it was intended first, but I think this might appeal to me more for a second playthrough, playing it chronologically. So that's Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. What I meant about the... I'll just grab the first one. Yeah, what I meant about the two covers sort of matching. It's like got the two age things of Ellie there just facing each other, and I just think it looks cool together. So even though it's going to be like that on my shelf, I like the ability to just look at it like that for every so often, I guess. I just thought it looked cool as a set. I wanted the pair of them together. So yeah, moving on a little bit to the Sheffield gaming market. It was a really nice event. I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it so much, especially after the last Doncaster one was a bit of a damp squib. They seem to have gone more onto, when we first started going, it was just stalls full of games, and you get the occasional like merch stall or tat stall, because a lot of it's not even official merch; it's stuff that people have made and that, which is nice. It's arts and crafts and stuff, but a lot of it is just tat that people have just downloaded 3D print files and printed stuff off. It's just the kind of stuff you expect to see in like 2p machines or a seaside tat shop when you go to the beach. So yeah, there's been a lot more of that kind of thing and less actual games at Doncaster or people selling old magazines and stuff, which have no interest to me. Sheffield seemed a lot more games focused. It was in Ponds Forge Leisure Centre, which I've not been in for a long time, since I was a little kid, and there was like a big function room and it was full. It was like not quite as big as Doncaster's one, but still pretty big, still pretty packed in, and like I said, a lot of games for sale. The only people I saw there that I knew.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Nobody asked you. The only people that were there that I knew were I think there was Tootie, who was behind the stall, like he always is. I said a quick hello to him. There was Callum, Retro Ghetto, as always, who was like doing the rounds as a proper YouTuber. It sounds like I'm saying that as like a bad thing, but I'm not. I don't mean anything negative by calling him a proper YouTuber. I just mean he is a proper YouTuber. Like, we're all kind of just playing the game, aren't we? We're just sat here chatting to his mates, but he's like a proper YouTuber, if you get what I mean. He's got an audience. So he was like going around talking to people, and I got a chance to chat to him a little bit, and also, she who must be not be named was there as well. Didn't find much that I liked that I wanted to buy. To be honest, I'd asked. There was one thing that I really kicked myself for not picking up, but I ended up not bothering. Basically, I had one sort of wander around and then one quick second lap. But yeah, I got 3 games. 3 games seems to have been my sweet spot lately. The first one I picked up was one that was off my wish list. I did want it on the Switch, but I saw it on the PS4, so what can you do? It was there in front of me on the PS4, I bought it on the PS4. And that's Spiritfarer, which, as far as I can tell, I've not played this yet, but it's like I think you're transporting the souls of like recently deceased over the River Styx, but while you're there you sort of run like a little restaurant hotel thing as well. Looks like a nice cosy game. Apparently it's really sad, but I played through Dave the Diver, and I love like coffee talk and stuff like that, so this kind of really appealed to me, the sound of it. Haven't got around to playing it yet, but I think it's going to be one of those where when it starts getting when the weather gets a bit more cosy, if you get what I mean, I'll probably sink into this a little bit. Just looks really nice. Like I said, I would rather have it on the Switch, but on the PS4 I'll sit and play it on the PS5, and sure I'll get a lot out of it. I can't remember how much it was, but I know it was a decent price compared to what was in my Amazon wish list, so I picked it up. And also on the same stall for the princely sum of £2. This is not even one that I've really ever thought about, but I just know, because I've been wanting to sort of focus a lot on my Xbox collection, because it's slowly growing now, but my Xbox One and Series X collection was paltry at best, and I just felt like I should expand it a little bit. This is one that I think I got off Games with Gold years ago, and now I don't pay for gold anymore, so I don't get to play it anymore. So if I thought for £2 I'd get a physical one. Never actually played it though, even though it looks like a decent exclusive, which, in my opinion, aren't exactly, you don't get them every day on the Xbox. The exclusives on the Xbox to me do not look great at all. So, yeah, Sunset Overdrive is the game, £2. I thought I might have overpaid for it, because I'm sure at one point I saw this for like 50p, but I had a look in CDX and it's £2 there as well, so Sunset Overdrive, I don't know if I'll ever get around to playing it, but it just feels like one that I should have had, so I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise, but it was on the same stall as Spiritfarer. But also on that stall, there was a copy of Deadpool on the Xbox One for £20, and I picked it up, I had it in my hand, I opened it up, looked at the disc and everything, and then I just didn't buy it for some reason, and I don't know why, and I'm kicking myself for not buying that. Anyway, that'll crop up again later. So yeah, I picked those up from the same stall, and then I went to the back of the room. There was a guy, he's always at, I think it's Console Passion, but I'm not sure. But they're always, I think they help run, I think they, part of the company that runs these shows. I'm not sure, but they're always there at the Doncaster one. They always have big tubs full of Japanese games, and I know I'd looked through them all last time looking for Yakuza stuff, looking for the Japanese exclusive ones that didn't come out over here. And I picked up basically all of them from him last time, except one, which was the Yakuza 1 and 2 HD collection on the PS3. But I thought I'd have a look anyway, knowing that he didn't have it last time. And lo and behold, there it is. That was one of only 2 Yakuza games that I needed for my collection now. For my sort of self-imposed collection. Not including ones that are upcoming as well. Yakuza 1 and 2 HD collection on the PS3. I was super happy to have seen this because this wasn't... I didn't even know it existed until I was sort of doing a little bit of research probably towards the end of last year. Because it's like an HD collection and not a proper release, and it's obviously it's not as popular as the others, so with it being Japanese only, I never actually thought I'd see it in the flesh. I thought this would be one that I ended up looking on eBay for. But it turns out I managed to find a copy just hunting normally, which is cool. Really happy to have found that. Which means the only one left in the collection that I need to pick up is Yakuza 2 on the PS2. PAL, because I can over here. I did find a couple of copies of it NTSC while I was in the Sheffield gaming market, but I even found an American one, but I couldn't bring myself to pick it up because it went against the parameters of what I was collecting. But yeah, super stoked to have found that. It's probably the one that's made me happiest of all to find so far. I keep banging my games on my desk. Why do I keep doing that? Yeah, just it made the whole day worthwhile, if you get what I mean. I didn't stick around for much longer after that. One thing that I did forget to mention when I first walked in is there was like a little back room thing set up, and there was a big stand there for Game, which is a new console coming out. It's on Kickstarter, and it's like a mini console but with light gun games, and it comes with a light gun that works on modern displays, and it just works. There's no sensors you have to set up or anything. It just works. Apparently it's got cameras in the gun and AI in the gun, which lets it point, lets it know where it's being pointed at. And I noticed this display for that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, because I'd already backed it on Kickstarter. And I was like, oh, it's cool that they're hopefully going to get some more eyes on this. And then I noticed it said, try it here, and there was just a back room, and there was 2 of them set up. So I wandered in there. There was a little kid and a couple of guys playing. Watched them for a little bit, and then I had a go on it. And I was informed by the guy there that outside of the media and the company that made it, I was like the 5th person in the world to play this console, which is, one for the ego, isn't it? Not because I'm a special boy, just because I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. They seemed really surprised and excited that I'd already backed this on Kickstarter and was already looking forward to it. Playing it has made me look forward to it even more. The unit only comes with 4 games installed, which is Time Crisis, Point Blank, and Steel Gunner 1 and 2. But I'm hoping somebody finds a way. I'm sorry if the people who make this stumble across this video of me talking about it, but I'm hoping somebody finds a way to hack it and add more games to it, because it's obviously running an arcade emulator. If I could add more ROMs to that, or even if they make it so you can, I'd be happy enough putting arcade ROMs on it. If they made it so you could put PS1, Saturn, Dreamcast, those. PS2 is a bit of a long shot, but if they've made it so you can put those ROMs on as well, I would be so happy. It'd be perfect for me, but. Even so, it looks like a really nice little bit of kit. I'm really looking forward to picking it up and playing it, and yeah, that and the Yakuza HD collection really made that day worthwhile to me. Later in the week, the pre-order come in. I didn't intend to pre-order this game, but the game collection were doing a thing where if you pre-ordered it, you got £10 in-store credit as a pre-order bonus. So I thought, you know what, it was only £40 as well, which is surprising compared, with most games coming out nowadays being around the 70 mark. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to pre-order it. I'm in the mood for it, and it's one of my favourite series, which you would have known about if I'd been able to film the top 10 franchises thing last week. And the game in question, Mafia: The Old Country, the PS5. £40 on the game collection, and then you get £10 credit back, which is an outstanding thing that they're doing. That shop, as I said to my friend Max the other week, to quote directly actually, Mass Effect, it's my favourite store on the Citadel right now, and they just seem reliable, quick deliveries, to say that they don't have their own company courier service, Amazon. And they actually do, also Amazon, they actually do get your pre-orders to you on release day. So they are my current favourite store to use. And I will say that they didn't credit my extra points, extra £10 credit for this at first, but I just messaged them and said, like, look, I was supposed to get £10 extra credit, and they're like, oh, sorry about that, there you go, and credited it then. No questions asked. So the game itself, fantastic. It's it's still open world, and you still drive around and stuff like that, but it's very tight and linear. You're never not on a mission, if you get what I mean. You never just let off the leash to just explore. You're always doing something. I'd say about a 10-hour game. I played it over the course of a weekend because I had the weekend off work to go to Barnsley Gaming Market. Really fucking enjoyed this. It's not my game of the year, but it's probably my new game of the year, if you get what I mean. That doesn't include remakes and remasters. It looks fantastic. It's so beautiful, this game. I wanted to be able to free roam, but because the island that you're on, there's not much there for you to do. There's only like one town and a load of countryside, but it looks so beautiful, and I wanted to just drive around it and see what it was like. And I suppose there are times when you can, but there's just that niggling feeling that you should be doing something. It's one of those games as well where you can go down IMDb and look at the cast and think, like, look at their faces, their actual photo faces, and go, oh yeah, he played him, he played him, he played her, she played her, well, he played her, it's 2025, whatever. I just cannot fault it. The only fault I can find is the fact that there's a knife fighting mechanic, and just about everybody you meet you have to end up having a knife fight with, and it is a little bit tedious after a bit. The stealth and the combat is lifted straight from The Last of Us, and I know that'll piss people off occasionally, but to me it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're going to ape a game, then ape the best game, essentially. So Mafia: The Old Country is fantastic. The whole series, I've loved every game in the series so far. I know people are a bit hot and cold with Mafia 3, but I think the whole series is fantastic. I've just banged it on the desk, as I do with everything. Bang it on the fucking desk. Seems to be a motif of today. So I pre-ordered that, and I got £10 credit. I already had a couple of quid credit as well, so I looked at they do a thing called Home of 9.95, where they have just a big old list of games that are selling off for 9.95 as well. Some real gems in there. Like I said, I had that, and I had a couple of quid credit as well, so not to mention the credit that I bought from that, I think I got about 12 quid credit in total from buying that game. So I had nearly 15 quid credit afterwards. I ended up buying Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. This is one of those games, sorry, it's still sealed, so it's going to get a bit of glare. Again, it's on the green brand. Funny actually, some woman at work was like, overheard me talking about computer games and how I collect them and stuff like that, and have a game room and stuff. And she said that you need to have more green space in your life. So I said, oh, I'm trying to. I'm collecting more Xbox. I thought that was funny. Anyway, it's one of those games that I feel like I should have played and I never have. And I think it came about at a time when I wasn't very hot on indie games at all. The whole scene seemed to be very pretentious, and they were all just 2D platform games, but they were all the developers were talking about them as if they'd reinvented the wheel every time they brought one out. I'm talking about stuff like Braid, which I have played now and it is great, but there was I can't remember the name of the other one where you could like walk around corners and stuff. It was the one where they had a documentary about it, and the developer was like, well, if you keep pestering me about my game, I'm never going to bring it out. It's like, just fuck off, get over yourself. Do you want a fucking stepladder to get over yourself? I'm ranting again, aren't I? And I'm sort of going off on tangents and waffling again. But for a long time I wasn't into indie games at all, and I did miss out on stuff like Braid and Celeste and things like that because of my own preconceptions of the scene. And I've gone back and played them, and they've been fantastic. So this was another one that I missed out on, and I just dismissed it as just a crappy 2D platformer at the time. Been meaning to play it ever since, so yeah, I thought Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, because it's got 5 games in total in the Shovel Knight series on that disc, and I nearly spent tenner just buying the first one on the Xbox in CEX the other week, so I'm glad I held off and got this one instead. And the other one I picked up, because I picked up 2, I had like nearly £15 credit, so I thought I'd buy 2 and just put £4 towards it. I bought the Bayonetta and Vanquish, 10th anniversary bundle. I already have Bayonetta like 3 times, so I didn't really need another one, but Vanquish is fantastic, and after playing through, if you remember the last one, I bought Transformers Devastation off Peter Johnson. It sort of made me realise that, you know, how much I used to love playing these like short but sweet Platinum games. Platinum, I don't mean Platinum as in like PlayStation Platinum, I mean Platinum Games is a developer. They're probably the most famous for doing Bayonetta, but they make like fast-paced action games, Devil May Cry sort of style, and they don't tend to last very long, or at least they didn't until Astral Chain came out on the Switch, which is quite a long game, still a great game, but quite a long game compared. But yeah, Vanquish is like a 3-hour sort of fast-paced, arcadey shoot-em-up, like third-person shooter with like Devil May Cry. It's like the Devil May Cry, but instead of all the more of the focus being on swordplay, it's more on shooting and traversal. Hell of a fun game. It's like, it's got Metal Gear Solid vibes, but not in any way stealthy. It's just if you take Metal Gear Solid, ramp up the action, ramp up the sci-fi side of it, and that's what you'll get. So that takes me up to the Saturday that I booked off work for me and Sean to go off to Barnsley Gaming Market. Now, let me just say that this one, and Sean was very positive in his video. He was kind of like giving them the benefit of the doubt. I want to give a counter argument that the Barnsley Gaming Market was, pound for pound, the worst gaming market I've ever been to. For a start, it was £11 a ticket, whereas the Sheffield one was like somewhere in the £3.50 to £4. I can't remember what it was. It didn't shock me to the point of it being £11 when I ordered it, put it that way. I think this backfired on them, as I said before, because after a while they changed it so it was buy one get one free to get in. But by that point, me and Sean had bought our tickets and there was no refunds, so we ended up getting stumped for, you know, as a special reward for our early bird status for adopting early. We ended up having to pay full price. £11 is an absolute ridiculous entry fee to charge for a gaming market. I dread to think what the prices for the tables were, but from what Tootie said in comments and stuff, probably a lot. We got in there. It was this big old room inside the Barnsley Metrodome. This was after the debacle with the parking, because they'd booked it with a football game as well. So you couldn't get into the Metrodome to park up. So we had to park in the Alhambra shopping centre car park thing and walk up. It turns out if you just turned up and said you were going swimming in the Metrodome instead, they'd just let you park up. So if we'd have known that in hindsight, that would have saved us a walk. But yeah, we got in and there was a big old function room thing, and about maybe a third of it was taken up by tables. I'd say there was 20 to 25 stalls, maybe like a couple of them were like selling sort of games they didn't want anymore, and there was nothing good on them at all. It was like the type of shit that you'd find on like Amazon Marketplace, where it's like, we're just selling all these games in a bundle, and it's like there's 13 copies of FIFA in there, some old PC games that don't work anymore, or like more 3D printed stuff, posters and stuff that people have had printed themselves, knockoff things. And it's just not for me. You go to a like gaming market and you expect games, as far as I'm concerned. And this is the same thing that Callum was saying when I was talking to him at Sheffield as well. But there were like maybe 3 stalls that were properly selling games in in Barnsley. We had a full first lap round and I didn't find anything that I wanted. Well, I did, as on one stall there was a steelbook copy of Persona 5 Royal on the PS4, and I thought, I'm going to keep walking around, but if I don't find anything I'll go back and grab that. It was 20 quid. So we had a first lap round, didn't buy anything, went to get a little bit of food, even they couldn't get that right. I ordered a sausage sandwich and a latte, and the sausage sandwich was ridiculously horrible. It was a sausage patty for a start, which I've got no problem against, but it was just completely flavourless. The bread was like cardboard. And my latte was a hot chocolate. So yeah, even that they got wrong. That was 8 quid that I was kind of pissed off about spending. We were sat down eating that, and I thought, right, I'm going to go back and get that Persona 5 Royal. But I'm also going to get on Vinted. I've been looking at a copy of Yakuza 2 on the PS2. It's the last Yakuza game I needed for my collection. I knew it was there on Vinted. So I went and, as we were sat down, placed an order for it. I thought, I'm going to order that because I'm not picking anything up here. I'm just going to go back and get that Persona 5 after we finished having food and drink. So I did that, ordered that. Went back to the stall with Persona 5. Sean is into his Broken Sword at the minute as well. So he's wanting to pick up Broken Sword games. And I thought, I'll have a look what else he's got on this stall. So I'd had a look through before, but not a massive look, because I was pretty much just fixated on finding Yakuza. So I picked up my Persona 5, it was still there. And I noticed they'd got a copy of Broken Sword 1 on the PS1. Absolutely pristine, mint looking thing, 20 quid. So I stood there with it in my hand for ages, trying to look for Sean, because he'd disappeared off somewhere. I think he was getting chatted up by some guy who was talking about Commodore 64 and stuff. This guy seemed to really want to be Sean's mate, so I left him to it. I found him, signalled him over, passed him the Broken Sword. He seemed really happy about it. Went to pay, and it was cash only, and neither of us had cash on us because it's 2025 and you pay on fucking card, don't you? So yeah, we had to both leave those behind because I don't know where the nearest cash machine was. Surely there should have been one somewhere in the Metrodome, but I wasn't going looking for one. And I prepared to leave empty-handed. Then we came to the very last stall at the back of the room, which I'd obviously scoured for Yakuza before. But now I was just going to have a quick look through. And lo and behold, for £5 cheaper than they had it on the other one, it's not Steelbook, but I found a copy of Persona 5 Royal. Never played a Persona game. This is just one of those ones that I'm very scared of because I've heard it's like massive. And I get very daunted by massive games. I'm part of the 52 game challenge, trying to complete games as much as I can, and not because I want to rush through them, but just because I want to experience as many different games. And when I'm finding stuff like this, when my gaming time in a week is probably limited to a couple of hours a night, I find the prospect of a 100-hour game very daunting. My buddy Max has decided, he said he'll give me a guide which will basically cut down that time, but I also kind of don't want to play with a guide at first. But I also find JRPGs very daunting as well, especially if they're in any way complex. So, I don't know. I will get to that at some point. It is a game that I've been wanting to play. But at the minute, it's like when you buy a new exotic pet. It's like this is the pet boa constrictor in the corner. I'm in awe of it, but I'm also kind of scared of it. So I picked that for £15. This is all from one stall. They also had a copy of this was off my wish list, which I've been wanting for a while. The Walking Dead Telltale Definitive Series. That is every episode of The Walking Dead Telltale game on disc, not download code. Not like you install the first episode and then get the rest of them free by downloading it. Because obviously it's iffy getting the Telltale games from different storefronts now. This has got the whole entire thing on disc, and the older episodes have been enhanced as well, which is great. Loves playing through these with my wife, and we haven't played through the later ones, so it'd be nice at some point to sit down and play through all this start to finish with the wife. The wife? Am I a man from the 70s now? With Susie, my wife. 12 quid that, which is a decent price. I say sit down and play that kind of thing, but I got the new, I always want to call it Stranger Things, Life is Strange. I got the latest one of that for Christmas, and we said we were going to sit down and play that together, and it's still sat under my TV, so Hopefully at some point we'll get to The Walking Dead as well. And then I noticed at the back of his stall, 'cause I think this might have even been the same stall that I went to in Sheffield as well, the same seller. But I noticed at the back of his stall, lo and behold, Deadpool on the Xbox One. Now marked up not at £20, but at £40. So I think maybe someone pointed out to him that he was undercutting with that, and he quickly marked the price up. But I don't know. I might be mistaken, but I'm sure it was the same seller. So yeah. I saw that £40 and thought, oh, at CX it's 60, so I snapped his hand off to get that at £40. Still kicking myself that I didn't spend £20 on it the week before. I do have this on the PS3. I got it when it first came out, but it's not incredible, but it is a fun game, and I have been wanting to replay it. And at some point, I am gonna set up my when I get get rid of the sofa bed. I'm gonna have a TV set up in here, and I'm gonna have my PS3 set up. So I was planning on replaying it on the PS3 in here. But I only get one day in here a week normally, if that. Quite often I have to do something on the Monday and I don't get to have a day in here in the week at all, so it would have been a slow burn going through that game. So I would have preferred it on a system that I can play in the living room, which now I have. Thought I was getting it for a good price at 40. It turns out CX have the Xbox version of 35, and they had it in stock in Barnsley, which is an absolute kicker. But to be honest, it's £40. It's a difference of £5. I'm not too mad. It's the PS4 version, which was £60. But it's a good one to have, isn't it? I suppose. It's not like a big hitter, but it's sort of a semi-big hitter. And it's one that's kind of sought after. So yeah, that's what I come away with from the Barnsley gaming market. I'm sorry this is going on fucking forever, isn't it? I keep talking about shit that doesn't matter. I'd not really intended to spend, what, £67 there after I'd already spent like nearly £70 on Yakuza as well, Yakuza 2 on Vinted as well. Yeah, we overspend, don't we? It's what makes us us. So back to Vinted. I got home and a bit later on I had to look at my phone. I had a string of messages from Vinted from the seller of Yakuza 2, just saying, hey, hello, hi, I'm not going to give his name, but I'm such and such, hi. Each one was just hi, hey, hello. And I'm like, ugh, because I really don't like, stuff like, I don't like messages on anything. If we're already established a rapport, then I'll gladly message, but it's like when you get someone on Instagram just saying hello and messaging you just saying hey, and they don't know you, just on the off chance that maybe you want to be friends. I always just ignore that shit. But this guy has been messaging me a lot, so I just sent him a message saying, everything alright? And it just turns out that he was just basically, because I bought quite an expensive game, he was just making sure I knew what I'd bought, just making sure that I did definitely want it. Apparently he'd been burnt in the past because people had bought stuff off him that was quite expensive, and then when he posted it, they claimed that he was selling the wrong thing and he'd overcharged them, and then they get to keep the product and he had to also refund it. Or Vinted had refunded it and then take the money off him. And he was just basically making sure I did want it before he posted it and stuff like that. Just a bit of nice sort of aftercare for the customer. So yeah, I reassured him I definitely wanted it. It was the last in the series that I needed to complete my subset. Definitely wanted it. And it's just kind of nice to have that kind of aftercare from a seller. So yeah, a couple of days later, what had become a little bit of a grail for me, Yakuza 2 pops through my letterbox. Everything present and correct, in very good nick. Because of like the communications and stuff, I rated him as high as I could on the thing, but he did say that it was mint condition, and there's a little bit of sort of like chewed up plastic there on the corner of the box. Stuff like that. It wasn't mint condition at all, but it's still very good condition. It's probably still cheaper than what I would have paid for something in this condition at CEX if they'd have had it in stock. So I'm not mad. I'm very, very happy, actually. If that does bother me about the chewed up box, I've got a couple of spare boxes I can swap it out for, but it doesn't bother me. So that's my Yakuza set. Done and dusted, completed. I need to find somewhere to display it as a subset, but like I've mentioned before about getting rid of the sofa bed and having a set up there. I think up on the shelf up there, the PS3 and PS4, they're going to be... where are we? PS4, PS3. They're going to be set up permanently, so I'm going to have that little nook as my Yakuza subset sort of area. Get them all on display together there. It's going to mess up my OCD because they're not going to be in with the correct consoles and stuff on the shelf, but I want to display them together. I've got them all boxed, all complete, and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, the subset's done. So it's time to move on for another subset, wasn't it? Finally, I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. Another subset I've been thinking about was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it's a franchise that I fucking love, and I always have done. It was like, as a kid, I think the Turtles were the only toys I had that I'd got new. I had some Ghostbusters, some He-Man, stuff like that were all handed down, but the first toys I ever got that were like new in packaging that I could open myself were the Turtles toys. I loved the cartoon. Films, yeah. Diminishing Returns, I think. The latest film, the animated one, Mutants and Mutant Mayhem, yeah. I just find that so distasteful. I don't know why. It's not because it's young and because I'm not young anymore, because I think it's great that they actually did finally lean into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actually being teenagers, but I feel that they mixed Donatello and Michelangelo up. The characters were mixed up, the actors should have been the other way around, because Michelangelo is always supposed to be the youngest and most childlike, so having the one whose voice hadn't broke yet should have been Michelangelo. The stuff that Donatello said and did in the film should have been Michelangelo stuff as well. So yeah, I feel like the casting and the character writing was wrong there. I didn't like how the humour was just everybody talks at once, and that's funny for some reason. Also, just the way how it was drawn and animated, I find it very hard to concentrate. I had the same problem with the Spider-Verse films. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, wasn't a fan of that film, but I thought I had to watch it just because of the fandom, yeah. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I'd sort of been thinking about trying to get those games at least as far back as the sort of PS2 era. I wasn't interested in trying to hunt down handheld games or NES games, essentially. So I was thinking about that, but then I saw somebody on Reddit who'd also been collecting them and thought, they wanted to get as many as they could on the Xbox because of the green boxes, and I was like, yeah, green boxes, that makes sense. So I decided I wanted to start collecting Turtles games on the Xbox, try and get as far as I can back. And I was looking through them, and it was like, yeah, this is actually going to be quite a cheap subset. I don't think there was anything over a tenner until I hit the original Xbox. And there were 3 Turtles games on that based on the 2003 cartoon. So expensive. And the first one's not too bad. The first one you can get between 20 and 30 quid. The second one's going to be like a 50 quid game. The third one is like 150 to 200 £200. So depending on the condition. Fuck that. There's no game ever worth that much. So it's going to be a bridge to cross when I come to it, but I've decided upon collecting the Turtles games on Xbox. I had a look through the Turtles games I already owned, and they were all on Nintendo platforms, which is kind of a shitter. But like I said, they're quite cheap, so I had a look on CEX, and this one I already had on the PS3. Again, it's the same sort of story as Deadpool. I got it on the PS3, but I wanted to play it on a more modern console, and I thought this for some reason was a pricey one, and it turned out it's not. I went to CEX, picked up Turtles and Mutants in Manhattan for £8 on the Xbox One. This does seem to be the cheapest way to own this game, but even so, I think it only goes up to about 15-20 quid on the more expensive versions, which is cool. It's another one by Platinum Games as well. Not very well received, this one, but it's Platinum Games. It's it's Turtles, which I absolutely love. It looks to be based on the artwork from the IDW comics, which is the sort of it's my most favourite Turtles continuity, if you get what I mean. The artwork is, I keep forgetting the guy's name, I think it's Ricardo something or other. I absolute blank with the name. There's There's two artists essentially from the comics that I really like. I've read through like until the revival last year. Basically, I'd read through the whole line of the Turtles IDW comic series. And the two artists that really stood out for me was this guy. I'm sure his name's Ricardo something or other. I can't. Let's have a quick Googs. It's not Ricardo at all. It's Mateus Santaluco. It's that's based on his artwork, which I always thought was really cool. I liked how the masks looked different. I always thought his artwork was best for the action-packed bits. And Sophie Campbell is the other artist that really stood out to me. She has very sort of soft, sort of childlike, sort of not childlike, but kind of like the characters look softer and more human and more sort of emotive, and that's better for like the quieter parts of the comics where the Turtles are like conversing and stuff like that. For the action, it's Mateus Santaluco. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that one, even though it's not been very well received. And then I had a quick look on Amazon just to gauge some prices, and these two were like around a tenner each, so I just thought I'm just going to pick them up. The last two, don't worry. I picked up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants Unleashed, which is a sort of video game sequel to Mutant Mayhem. Again, I don't think it looks like a great game. I did really want the collector's edition for this because it looked really cool with the turtle van, the pizza van that they drove around in. There's a model of that in it, but it's like 80 quid and I couldn't justify. For a tenner, I don't mind that. And the last one, which is a game I already have on Switch, but for a tenner I don't mind owning it again for the collection. That's the Cowabunga collection, which is like all the sort of retro, 8-bit, 16-bit and arcade 2D Turtles games. It's a very good set. They were a tenner each. So them to kickstart off my TMNT Xbox subset that I'll be working on. I'm not going to be working on it, I'm not going to sit there and buy them all off the internet. I'm going to try and keep it mostly to things that I see, whether I'm going to Argos and I've got a bit of spare cash, or if I'm heading to CEX. I did have a look in the CEXs around me, and the only Turtles game that was in stock was that Mutants in Manhattan ones, but yeah, I'll keep checking every time I'm going into town or something. I'll keep checking. And yeah, that's going to be my major collection, I think, going forward, is Turtles Xbox games. We'll see what happens when we come to the expensive ones. I'm not above buying NTSC copies, put it that way. I'll not be able to play them, but I can sort of have them for, on the shelf, and then I'll download like a ROM for my GameCube or PS2 and play them on that if I want to play them. So yeah, I'm not above that. It doesn't have to be PAL this time. The Yakuza ones, the region did play a big part in my collection, but the Turtles ones don't. So yeah, I'm sorry it's been a very long one. I don't know what's come over me. If you like what I do, stick around, and I'll leave you to it, I guess. Bye.